Welcome to Commander Central, episode 123, and today we're going to be talking about the ABCs of EDH. I'm Dana.
I'm Max.
It's almost like you set this up.
I did. Actually, this is your idea.
I know, but you set it up perfectly for 1, 2, 3.
Stranger on the podcast.
Right.
Introduce yourself to the audience so they can meet the newest cast member.
I'm Jim Bob. I'm from down
I think we've
south.
already done this bit.
Everyone knows who I am.
Welcome back, Chris.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back, Chris.
You no longer have any kind of rental equipment at your property that you're using?
Nope. I flipped that excavator, too.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did. I went like this, picking up the dirt, and I'm just like, cool, picked it up, got it up, and just drove right off the edge of where the hill was. It flipped. My wife's like freaking out, like, oh my God, what'd you do? I'm like, it's nothing. I put the bucket down, it comes back, and I'm just like, see, easy peasy.
Were you that calm, though, or were you
Yep, I was calm.
All right, cool.
It's not the first time. I flipped a bobcat once doing the same thing, so.
This is why I don't.
Don't think I would be that calm.
Help! I've fallen in. I can't get up.
Well, that sounds like a good time. Anyway.
Yeah, I still don't have grass on my lawn, and it's starting to really aggravate me.
It'll grow in about a year.
Well, I'm seeding it.
Well,
like a mofo.
this is the miserable time of year to try to be doing that too.
Well, and it's been raining so
Yeah.
much. It's like, come on, just give me like a nice week of hot days so I can just water it and just let it grow.
It was I think it must have been Tuesday. Tuesday got really hot and muggy,
Yep.
and I walked to work and it wasn't bad, because work's like a mile and a half ish or so away, and so I get there and then I had to actually go to the bank for something. So I'm like, I'll just walk to the bank. But that's in the opposite direction of where my house is. So I walked to the bank over lunch, and at that point in time, it's now like the sun's up and there's no shade and it's hot. I get to the bank to my banking and I'm like, well, I'll just work from home for the afternoon, so I'm just going to walk back home, which is a different route. I went up. No one listening will know, but I went on 5th Avenue to Water Street, then walked up Water Street to my house. So that's winds up being
Wow, that's a
4
way
miles?
around.
from the bank over by the hospital too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that winds up being probably close to 3 or 4 miles.
Yeah.
And I got about halfway home and I'm like, this was a mistake.
Uber.
Well, what I did, so I'm like, I gotta take a break. So I walked. There was a Barachos on.
Well.
So I walked into the Barachos and sat down, and then like within 30 seconds, the manager's like, sorry, you have to come here to order. And I'm like, oh, I know.
Waiting for people.
I'm waiting to meet someone. And he's like, oh, okay. And I sat there like 5 or 10 minutes in like the nice, cool air conditioning, playing on my phone, and then I was like, oh, they can't make it, sorry. And walked the rest of the way home after I got a little bit of a break in the cool air conditioning.
That's great.
So apologies, manager at Barachos, if you're listening. I just needed to be in the nice, cool air for a little bit. So I missed games this week. I didn't get a chance to play.
I played a couple.
How about you, Chris? Were you there?
No.
So how are your games, Max? Anything interesting?
I got slaughtered by an new Aurelia deck.
Oh, the new one.
Yep.
Nice.
Our local Boris player came back for a day.
Oh, she was back in town visiting.
Yep.
Nice.
And then I let a Golos Maze's End deck win.
I saw the Golos Maze's End deck last week when I
Yep.
played. Excellent.
I had the generous gift in my hand to destroy a gate,
Okay.
and I just missed it. I forgot how Maze's End works, so I missed it, and I'm like, oh, never mind.
Sure.
It's a cool way to win.
Right. Like if you've done all the work getting
Yeah.
all those gates out in that deck, you maybe deserve to take it.
I did get to smack someone for like 26 commander damage, though, so that was fun.
With Tuvasa?
With Tuvasa.
Still a pretty cool deck.
I kept a 1-lander, so I didn't feel that bad. It took like 12
sure.
turns to do that.
I don't know if I can play Commander on Tuesdays anymore.
Why is that?
After the last time I played,
You kicked my butt.
yeah, well,
With my deck.
we were playing with
But
a
he
wonderful
didn't kick
person.
it, but he didn't kick it thoroughly enough.
We were playing with a wonderful person, Max's roommate. I don't care if he hears this or not.
That's fine.
But I almost snapped on him.
Yeah, you did. You
I
tilted.
was like, oh, and I don't tilt like that. And I was just like,
What was it over?
Threat assessment.
Oh,
Chaos
sure.
Warping my Niv's disc when my Niv's disc had the rest of the table in check.
People who make bad threat assessment mistakes sometimes, I have a tough time with that too. That's one of the things that tilts me.
I mean, he's gone right now, so if you want to go like fart on his pillow, you can give him some pink eye or something.
No, it's just when he played that card, I said some choice words that I shouldn't have said, and I said them very loud. But just it was the threat assessment of when I had Niv's disc out and I'm keeping Max and
Matt, yep.
Matt under control with that, and I was no threat.
Sure.
But he got rid of that because it was going to blow up like one of his enchantments.
His one of 4 permanents that isn't a land. Where I had a Resplendent Angel and Dramoka and Baneslayer out making angels every
and
turn.
Matt had Swiftfoot Boots on Lazav,
that was like Skittles or something. Yeah.
That's one of those things, too. Like, next year he won't do that, but he's a new enough player that it's threat assessment's tricky when you're a new player, I guess.
I was so aggravated.
Yeah, you were. I
might have turned hard on him in the next game.
A little bit.
You just spite killed him.
Oh, yeah, I ended up playing Max's Dramoka deck and went a little angry.
You didn't even do the killing. You let everybody else do it because you had Duelist Heritage out and let everybody else swing at him.
Oh, you were just buffing their...
It was awesome. It was like, I attack you with this. I'm like, which one's the biggest? Oh, that one? Double Strike!
That's not swinging at me.
That's an easy one to forget that Duelist Heritage gives Double Strike to a creature, not just your creature.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nice.
So,
I like that.
I haven't been on in a week or two or whatever.
A couple
and
shows.
I haven't been able to relay this, but we had Justin and Alexis.
Oh, yeah,
from
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Yep.
I do believe if that's not where you guys are from, I'm so sorry.
That's where Max
where we met them.
That's where Max and I met them at the
Yep,
Jeep.
they came in and played. I played like 3 or 4 games with them,
Nice.
so it was pretty fun.
I was gone for 4th of July, I think, that
As
weekend.
was I.
Yeah. Very cool.
It was awesome.
You posted some pictures of that, I
Yep.
think. Well, thank you very much for stopping in, Justin and Alexa. Well, you've also been gone, Chris, and you missed the ban and unbanning announcements, where we lost Iona and we lost Paradox Engine, and we got back Painter Servant.
I don't know what's going through Sheldon Menery's head. I mean, is he smart or something? I don't understand this. I mean, it's the greatest ban I've ever heard of, but
You're okay with all these?
Oh, I'm completely fine with
Wait,
it.
you mean you like that he wants people to have fun?
Yeah. And I just don't understand. It's like, okay, so let's unban Painter Servant. Big whoop, that targets one player. You can't target the whole board with that combo.
Exactly.
And there's also a ton of wonky stuff you can do with Painter Servant.
Yeah.
That's interesting and weird and stupid and fun.
No, I never thought Painter Servant was a bad thing. I realized getting rid of Iona is a different thing with Painter Servant, because I actually had an argument with someone, because Painter Servant turns everything into a single color.
Right.
Well, if you play Iona and you choose that color, then you just lock the game out.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I understand the banning of Iona if you're going to bring back Painter Servant. So
And I get, like, there's a lot of CEDH players that are annoyed. I get it, like, that's a key card in their format, and it's fair in CEDH because those guys are all playing at a level and with an amount of interaction and stuff that keeps it in check.
Icy-Cron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal is the same thing.
I mean, no, it is. Like, it's a bummer they lost that, but the majority of the player base isn't playing at that level, and it's just an easy card to have be a awful wet blanket on a game that takes 15-minute turns and doesn't necessarily win anything.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
I mean, it's too bad, but like, and I did see one thing. Sheldon Menery was talking to a couple of the CEDH content creators in the last couple of days in private, but he's mentioned they're having discussions. So maybe in the future, though, they can come up with like some compromises on different things. I know one of the things they're asking for is Flash to be banned, because Flash Hulk is a problem in CEDH, and it isn't, like, just no one's running it in regular casual EDH.
No, because people want to have fun.
Right. So maybe they can find some compromise for like cards like Flash that nobody else cares about, and they're a pain in CEDH. So maybe they'll be able to work something out there.
Because Flash is still a perfectly playable card. It's when you abuse the ability.
When you're using, particularly with Hulk, and that's
Yeah.
what it gets used for in CEDH. Or I think Academy Rector, there's some omniscient stuff that happens sometimes too. So, yeah, I mean, it was part of the thing too. I think that people kind of blew out of proportion. This is the first ban we've had in 2 years. I think people got so used to like there being no change that there was a bit of a system shock where like 3 cards are now different. But
Whoop-de-doo.
I mean,
3 of 16,000.
It's still the smallest ban list of any format with the largest card pool.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. I mean, why people complain about it at all. I mean, if you want to have fun, you can keep playing and have fun. There's still many, many combos out there, everyone. Just go play those instead.
For sure.
And if they can always change their mind if the game changes enough or it isn't a problem, they can redo it in 2 years. So we're all kind of on board with that. If you disagree and don't want to reach out and talk to us about anything else, any skid steers you may have flipped over in your backyard, any fun games you played, how'd you find us, Chris?
You can find us.
Oh, that's right. I'm not doing this
You're
anymore.
not doing it, Max. That's why I threw it to Chris.
My bad. All you, sir. Welcome back.
Taking his job.
They took our jobs.
So you can reach us on Twitter at CMDR Central. You can find us on Facebook by searching CMDR Central. You can find us on YouTube searching CMDR Central. And you can find us online at cmdrcentral.com.
You can also find us over at Patreon by searching CMDR Central, and we have 2 new patron supporters to say thank you to. So we want to say thanks to James Arnquist and John Kozlowski. And welcome back, John. He was a patron.
I was going to say,
left for a while, and now he's back.
I know James's name from Twitter, and he won a contest.
Yes.
And I was like, John Kozlowski sounds really familiar. Okay, well, then that's why. All right. Well, thank you all very much. We do appreciate it.
Yes, and if you are so inclined to be able to support us financially, there are tons of stuff you can help out with, whether just a couple bucks to join us in our chat room or more money to get your own Decks You Play episode.
Absolutely. We have a few changes coming to Patreon in the next couple weeks.
Probably by August, yeah.
Also, you can find us on teespring.com.
Yeah, head over to teespring.com and search CMDR Central to find all of our apparel, including our shirts with the logo, the Game's Gotta End saying, and our 3 new shirts with all of our own catchphrases.
Trash card's the best one. Everyone order it. Please do it.
This is
because
apparently a
I do not
contest.
want to lose to Max.
Right now, the scumbags are uniting, and we are
You know
winning
what?
in
I'm just going to
sales.
spend like $400 and just buy them out and just be like, what's up?
We would appreciate that. Let me know if you want different colors.
They don't make pink.
They don't make pink.
That's the one you wanted. It was the pink one?
My wife wanted one. And she's like, oh, I want it in pink. And Max looks. He's like, there's no pink, but he like put
There's
like
bright blue.
a baby bluish. And she's like, oh, I like that one too.
Yeah, it's like turquoise or something.
My wife got one of the sweatshirts, which she's like, oh, this is super soft. She was like, girl, get it. But she's like, it's super soft. This sweatshirt's awesome. And it's going to be 92 degrees for the next 8 weeks. Oh, my goodness. Can't wear it now until September. You can also find us on flipsidegaming.com.
Yeah, head over to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code CMDR in all caps to get 10% off all orders, $10 or more.
And we have a couple of contests winding down here at the end of the month.
Yeah, so we have the Twitter contest where if you retweet the two-headed dragon tweet, you get entered in to win that oversized card from 9th edition.
Chris is Vanna Whiting in here for those who can't see, which is everyone but the 3 of us. Nice sound effect.
And then on Patreon, we're giving away a bundle of Core 2020 to one lucky patron supporter. So as long as you support us, continue to support us through the month of July, or start supporting us in this month, you'll be entered to win.
Fantastic. Sounds like a bunch of good stuff.
Oh, and one final announcement.
Yeah.
Everybody who is in need of the new pin, those should be in the mail when you're hearing this episode air.
All right.
I think
Yeah,
I
that's
would
your
have mailed
plan.
them. I plan on mailing them like Monday morning.
Okay, cool.
So, speaking of Core 2020,
Yes.
you guys all hear about the screw up that Wizards did with that.
Was it with the uncommon knight, that black-white knight?
Yep.
It was in a 2/3 or a 2/2 at different
It's
times?
supposed to be a 2/2. They printed it as a 2/3. A bunch of people in our shop got it as a 2/3.
It was
really?
only in the pre-release kits, too.
Yep.
Wow. So did everyone knew by the time that happened?
Well,
What was
because
it?
they blew up all social media, everything to tell all store owners, this needs to be a 2/2, not a 2/3.
Did anybody pull a foil?
Ooh, that's a good
Because-
question.
It was uncommon, so I don't think you would. Well,
In a pack, maybe?
yeah, maybe.
But because that would be like the most expensive reprint, like misprint ever.
Yeah, that would be a cool one.
I'm going to hunt it.
Yeah?
There you go.
Good thing I'm a shop fly.
Last I heard, nobody has confirmed a foil one yet. Like
Okay.
on Twitter or anything.
Interesting. Yeah, I knew about the misprint, but I didn't know if we got any here. If it was like just in isolated to one location or
No,
something.
they had them, and
Interesting.
because one of the guys showed me, he's like, oh, yeah, you see this? I'm like, oh, there's one. I've been looking for one.
All right, so should we discuss the ABCs of EDH
Yeah.
on show 123?
Indeed.
So Chris came up with this
This
idea.
is Chris's idea while watching fireworks.
And drinking Coors Light.
Yep.
All right. Is it the Coors Light that did it? That's what put it over the top?
I don't know. I
Our
was
new
just like,
sponsor, Coors Light.
I was rattling off so many ideas to Max, and I'm like, what about this one? I'm like, no, wait, that doesn't sound good. How about this one?
And then we drink a beer and keep going.
So we probably should explain what this means. We're just going to go through the alphabet in sequence, each of us, and pick what we think the best card is in EDH for each letter.
Yep. We divided the alphabet up, so we didn't all each do our own 26.
Yes, so there's only going to be 26 cards here total. And I bet there's going to be probably a little bit of contention. Number 1, 2 for a couple of the letters. There's a gazillion cards to go through, too, so it's possible, like, just scrolling over lists, your eyes just dance past a really obvious one, and you're going to say, like, this card, and us listeners go, how did you possibly miss this one?
Cancel.
So,
I mean,
I'm
Right,
perfectly
right.
fine with that.
obviously cancel for C, but... so, if you want to reach out to us and let us know if there's any of these that you disagree with, let us know. But I'm kind of curious what you guys have because we've not seen each other's lists, I don't think, so far.
And I avoided the Power 9.
Yes.
So I didn't put dual lands on mine.
I did not put any dual lands. I don't think I skipped lands entirely.
I used one land.
Okay.
I cut a land in my narrowing down process.
Okay.
I had one for a while, and it got the axe.
Well, and I'll start with the letter A, and here's an example. Ancient Tomb is probably, I thought, the best A card in the format.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, but every deck would run it. It felt kind of like a boring pick. So I went with Assassin's Trophy next. I think it's very rapidly become one of the best removal spells in the format. It's 2 mana, hits almost anything.
Very interesting.
Abrupt Decay on steroids.
Even it's kind of got that weird clause too because it doesn't say non-land. But it does say CMC. You can hit a few of the Ixalan lands that are flipped over. I've never done it, and the odds of it ever happening are pretty slim. But like, it's one more cool thing for a really, really good card already. And I've got 2 different decks that currently have black-green in them, and I'm running it in both those decks. And I just can't imagine a situation where I'm playing that color combination and I wouldn't run it.
Gotcha.
Max, you're B.
I am B. I went with Basalt Monolith.
Interesting. I think it's actually, if anything, a really underplayed and underappreciated card.
Social media is going to explode.
Oh, yeah,
hard.
I know.
What did you say, Beast Within?
Or Berserk.
Right, yeah.
So my criteria was how many decks can a card be played in?
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
I have a lot of colorless cards on my list, and I just happened to handed some of those letters where that's really all I had to choose from. And then once from there, it's like, okay, well, is Berserk and Basalt Monolith? Well, Basalt Monolith is just a combo engine. It can create infinite mana pretty easily in EDH, so the scumbag in me went that way.
All right, that seems reasonable. My first thought was Beast Within, too. That was funny that Chris said that.
Nope. Berserk was a good runner-up, though.
Chris, the letter C.
Can we just skip this one?
Was this one tough?
Yep. Well, I have a whole note section on cancel right here. But I picked for the letter C Cyclonic Rift, just because it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, okay,
It is probably the
obvious.
most powerful card in Commander, in my opinion.
Yes.
I have one further down on my list with the same reasoning.
There's a couple of these here where you're like, I got to pick this one.
You have to pick Cyclonic Rift. A big reason is I didn't want to get yelled at by social media either. Because it is probably, the letter C is probably the most powerful card.
If you were to ignore Rift, because it's so ubiquitous, would it be anything else that would jump out at you with the C's?
I'd have to sit and think about this.
Okay.
This is one where I was like starting to scroll through, and I'm like, what am I even doing?
Once you saw Rift, you're like, yeah, I'm done. That was easy. Well, kind of the same thing here for me. I'll go to letter D right now. Demonic Tutor is, I mean, it's Demonic Tutor. It's been in the game since Alpha, and I still think it's probably even better than Vampiric. I guess Vampiric's 1 less mana and it's instant speed, but it goes to the top of your library. It costs you life. It can be messed with via somebody milling you or something. And it costs you a card. It costs you a draw. So basically, you're wasting it and your next draw.
Yep.
Kind of. I mean, I guess you're turning your next draw into the spell you want, but Demonic Tutor just gets it to hand and gives you the next draw. So, I mean, Demonic... And I think the original Demonic Tutor art
is so cool.
Is so cool. I get why they maybe had to replace it because it does look pretty satanic for
it's got like
the 90s.
Whatever the star
the
thingy,
the pentagram, upside down
on his
pentagram
book,
on
on the demon's book, and I was like, you can't reprint that.
But it's a great card, and I do love that art. So that was my pick. Is Demonic Tutor for D. Max, E.
E was tough.
Okay.
But I chose a card that
Elephant
literally
Graveyard.
ends games.
E that ends games.
I went with Eldrazi Conscription.
Oh. Yeah.
Again, colorless. It can go in any deck. The Annihilator trigger on it, giving your creature the plus 11?
Plus 8. And Annihilator. Annihilator 4?
3.
Annihilator 3.
Chris is shaking his head like...
I'm just shaking my head because you're a scumbag over there. It's like 2 in a row. In a row.
Extra Pointer Lens was the substitute.
Sure.
But, so I picked... Eldrazi Conscription won it because that just wins games. It makes an impact when it hits the board. And if you can't declamor it or remove the creature that it's trying to be targeted, you're going to lose.
This is what happens when Max doesn't, have the proper code for Scryfall to look through each letter.
Yes. Thank you, Patrick Sapolo, for that codex.
He just goes through the scumbag list. He's just trying to sell more T-shirts. Is what he's doing.
I keep it in my wallet. It's just a little folded up piece of paper.
So, do you have conscription in your Enchantress deck?
No.
You don't. Okay.
Because of how low my CMC is in that deck.
Sure.
I mean, it's under 2.8 now. That huge drop was just going to screw the curve up so bad.
And you don't necessarily need it as a win condition. You
No.
have enough ways to win in that deck. You don't necessarily need it.
Nihilious Colossus does enough.
Sure. Chris, the Fs are to you.
So we could talk about a couple of them, like Fabricate, Factor Fiction, that kind of stuff. All
Sure.
really, really good cards. I picked the most powerful F card in the world.
The F-bomb.
Faithless Looting.
Oh, yeah, the modern player in you, I feel like, is bleeding through.
Even in Commander, I think this card does so much. 1 mana.
Yeah, it does.
You draw before you discard.
Yep.
And you have Flashback. I mean, this card overall is phenomenal in my opinion. And it's in red, which red really is lacking in phenomenal card draw.
I mean, so even if you're doing nothing with the cards you discard, because a lot of times you're discarding good cards just to reanimate them or do something with them in your graveyard anyway. One of the keywords that's showing up in the Commander 2019 set is Madness. I mean, it's a great enabler for Madness.
There's also a Flashback.
There's also a Flashback, yeah. So you can. I'm assuming it will be in there. It just plays so perfectly with any kind of Madness kind of stuff. But even if you're not doing that kind of stuff, 1 mana to just turn your 2 lands in your hand and at least a shot at 2 different cards is almost always worth it.
I think it's playable any point in the game too. I mean, sometimes there's been times where I draw like a card draw spell and I'm like, I really don't want this late in the game. This one's for 1 mana, it's not going to set you back anything.
Yeah.
I mean, do it 4 mana and you get to look at 4 cards. So
Right. Yeah, it's such a good card. And I did see somebody the other day refer to say, at this point, Modern is now the Faithless Looting format in the same way that Legacy is a Brainstorm format.
Psh, I don't believe that. Because there's like 4 of us on my team playing the Urza combo deck. No, we're not playing Faithless Looting.
But the fact that somebody would make that statement, though, says a lot about how good that card is and how people have really the last few years.
It is really good.
Because it didn't take off right away, I don't think, right when it was first in. It was first in Innistrad, right? It was when it first released. I don't remember it being the player. It took a few years for everyone to realize like what an absolute monster it is in that format, and it's really good in EDH too.
Yeah.
All right, F was Faithless Looting. Back to G for me. This was not one of those tricky ones where I'm like, Grim Monolith is the obvious answer here. I think
he's gonna say Greater Good.
Oh,
I'm not.
I really thought it was going to be that
but
one.
I'm like, that's maybe too much of a personal thing to me. So if I ignore Grim Monolith as the obvious answer, I think Glenalendra Archmage is maybe the next one on the list.
I like that choice. I love personal
really
favorite card of mine.
And I've never ran it in a deck. I have it in no decks, but I will say this about it. I've never seen somebody cast it where I didn't go, son of a... Now I got to figure out, because I was going to do this next turn.
I have to kill it twice.
Right. Now next turn I was going to do this, and they're going to stop it. Or, okay, so if I can blow this removal spell on it, and like, it just screws up every plan I was going to make.
You're welcome.
And it's been you the last couple of times, because I think you have it in Brago.
Yes, I do.
And
of course he does, because you blink it and it just loses the counters.
The last time you played it, I was like, so I was trying to make sure the board, and I was like, so that can't counter creature spells, right? But anything anyone casts is a non-creature you can hit, right? I'm like, so everyone else, please help me get rid of it. Like I was trying to subtly point a big finger at it because I needed it gone. So yes, based on that, I would say Glenalendra Archmage. But I mean, for just generically being powerful in every deck, Grim Monolith is busticated.
Yeah.
So that was one I want to mention. I also, for honorable mention, it's a new card and it only goes in one color and it's not nearly as universal, but I've never seen Guardian Project hit the field when it wasn't just a beast.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's up there, but I wanted to mention that because it's a new card and I think it's already really impactful in a whole lot of decks. Max, the letter H is to you.
We're going with the third colorless card in a row now. My good friend, Hangerback Walker.
Oh, yeah.
It can come out early as a 1/1 or a 2/2. You can make it bigger just by its ability. It goes great in +1/+1 counter synergies, token synergies, because it makes the Thopters. It's a card you like to see at any point in the game because even if it dies, you're getting way more bodies for what you paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a complete absolute house in Standard when it was played. When I built my artifact deck, my Vela deck, I had a pre-release one. I cracked the pre-release flow in that pre-release, and was it Kaladesh or was it
Origins?
Origins.
It was Origins. Oh, it was an Origins. Yeah.
Yep.
So I had the pre-release one. I'm like, I'll put it in my Vela deck. I don't know if it's that good in EDH. It's so good. It's so good.
It's wonderful. Turn 1 Faithless Looting. Discard Vengevine. Discard Bridge from Below. Play Hangerback Walker. Play Hangerback Walker. Get 2 zombies. Vengevine comes back. Attack.
Nice.
Yeah, it is such a really good card. And I didn't play much Standard. I didn't appreciate how good it was until I actually got to use it in a deck. And the new card from Modern Horizons, Scrapyard Recombiner, that goes and gets a construct. Hangerback Walker is a construct.
Yes, it is.
It's one of the, that was another card where I'm like, there's not that many constructs, is there? And I did a search for construct. I'm like, oh my god, there's a bunch of fantastic constructs.
I think Walking Ballista is a construct.
Ballista is,
Yep.
Metal Worker is. There's a bunch of really good ones. So that's just one more one you can then go grab with your Scrapyard Recombiner. That's Hangerback Walker. Good choice there, Max.
Thank you.
Chris, onto the eyes. You got some bad letters here.
I do.
I think.
It's wonderful. So, for the letter I got quite a few of mine here, like Idyllic Tutor, Inventor's Fair,
sure.
Icycron Scepter, It That Betrays, which
Nice.
just that card just wins the game.
Yeah.
The card that I picked, though, by far for its CMC, the color that it's in, and what it does, I think is the most powerful, and that is Imprisoned in the Moon.
Yeah, I love Imprisoned in the Moon. I'm a big fan. Imprisoned in the Moon won me a game like 2 weeks ago against a Vela the Nightclad.
Yep.
I was down low enough from even if I kill Vela, it's going to do enough damage to me because I was like 3 life. I'm like, it's going to ping me for 1, and the next turn I was so low I couldn't afford to. I'm like, I top decked Imprisoned in the Moon. I was able to, that takes Vela's out of the equation. I was playing against someone else's Vela deck. Took Vela out of the equation long enough where I could gain some life and then actually turn the game around.
It's a wonderful card. These certain cards like this, because it is in blue, the ability to break the color of what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because you can hit almost anything with this, which really saves blue if you're playing mono blue or something like that.
I like that it hits planeswalkers.
Yes. And there's some of those cards too, those commanders that you're like, I'm gonna kill it, but it's gonna be back next turn, either because it's got some kind of like Derevi or something, it's just gonna bounce itself, or it's got a low enough CMC, or they've ramped enough for I'm never gonna get that commander gone permanently. That can buy you a couple turns until they draw the removal spell, or if they don't have a sack out one on board. Like I've seen people strip mine their own commander that had an Imprisoned in the Moon on it just to get it back to the command zone.
I've done that.
I've done it.
Yeah. So that's a good call. So we go to me with Jays. Jays were tricky.
Jade. Jester's Cap. Jester's Cap? Is that
Yeah,
the one?
that's a J.
It was the first J that popped in my mind.
Jester's Cap on Jester's Mask.
Jalum Tomb.
Juggalops.
I actually was kind of considering that. I went with Jace Vryn's Prodigy.
Yeah.
It was the only planeswalker I picked, but
He's not a planeswalker.
I guess he's a creature on one side and walker on the other. But he does all the things that you want him to do. He's just a good value card all the time.
Agreed.
So I really liked those flip walkers in general. Jace was the best of the bunch, but I liked that mechanic a lot.
I think that's tough. I think Nissa's
Nissa's really good too.
Nissa's as good, if maybe not better.
In Commander, Nissa's really good too.
Yeah, Jace isn't quite as good in Commander. He's much better as a Merfolk looter than his flip side.
Yeah.
And that ability is better in other formats than it is in Commander. But I think he's still a power. And there's just not a lot of great J cards that are competing with it either. So Jace Vryn's Prodigy at J. Max, the Ks.
This is my first Planeswalker on my list.
Okay. Again, Ks are weird.
It's going to be Karn.
It's going to be Karn, Sign of Urza.
Yeah.
4 mana to draw a card, and it protects itself. Boros wanted it forever.
Is there any Planeswalker that had 1, 2, 3, all 3 of their first Planeswalker cards are all great? Because all 3 of those cards are really, really good. In every format. They're not just good in Commander. All 3 of those cards are good in every format.
Well, I know the newest Karn, I don't remember exactly what his name is.
Great Distorter or whatever.
He replaced Sign of Urza in Modern.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. The ability to go into your sideboard for a card.
Yeah. Go get Lattice.
Yeah. Especially when you're playing Urza, Thopter Sword combo, and they're like, Lattice, and you're like, cool.
My backup to this was Kalidas Trader of Get, the new
Kalidas
one.
Good.
The 4-drop?
The 4-drop. He's just a great utility creature. He has a big body, has lifelink, and he has graveyard hate because he exiles any creatures and makes bodies for you.
Does he still see much modern play at all?
I haven't seen him in a while.
Was he in Jund for a while?
Jund,
Aristocrats,
Abzan, that kind of stuff. But I haven't seen a whole lot of those decks recently.
Okay. All right. There's the case for Max. L, Chris, what do you got?
Well, there are some. Let me show you the list I have for L. So we go, Laboratory Maniac. Cool card.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Land Tax. Wonderful card.
Yeah.
Awesome. Really powerful. Leyline of the Void, Leyline of Anticipation. Both really good cards.
You went with that new green one, right?
Why? Light up the stage. Lightning Greaves, Lignify, Limduo's Vault. I could go on and on and on. But the card that I picked is another card that, for what it does, is super powerful in the color that it's in.
Okay.
And that is Lifecrafter's Bestiary.
Okay.
Oh.
The ability to scry in green for free, awesome. You play a creature, which that's what green does.
Right.
I'll pay an additional green and draw a card. That is phenomenal for the color that it's sitting in.
And it's card drawing green.
Yep. Yeah. And it is an artifact, so you can put it out at any point in time.
Easy to cast.
Yeah, very easy. And all you need is 1 green to activate it when you cast a creature spell.
That is a good call. Interesting.
Did not see that coming out of left field. Yeah. I was expecting Lightning Bolt.
I Ken was too. I was like, Lightning Bolt.
It was so hard not to.
Lightning Bolt's an interesting card in that as the format gets a little faster and a little tighter over the years, Lightning Bolt gets better and better because everyone's running lower and lower drop creatures and that kind of thing. And more Planeswalkers. Lightning Bolt gets better in that regard too because you need Planeswalker removal and it does that as well. So I would have been okay with the Lightning Bolt answer too, but okay. Lifecrafter Bestiary, I like it. M to me, this was the worst because
this is probably a mile-long
there
list,
was
too.
10 obvious answers. I'm like, Mana Crypt is clearly one of the best mana rocks ever. I'm like, well, okay, if I skip Mana Crypt, there's certainly then a wide open field. Well, no, because then it's like Mana Drain. Okay, Mana Drain is obviously awesome. And you're like, well, okay, Mox Diamond or Mana Vault or... I mean, like, there's a bunch where I could just go down the list of all these, like, utility artifacts and spells. So all of those are probably legitimate answers. The one I settled on was Mystic Remora.
Mystic Fish.
Stop telling people.
I dug through my bulk and found 2 of them.
I had like a whole bunch of them, and I started giving them away to people.
I used to find so many in Ice Age bulk.
I'm just like, here, this is a really good card. You could use this. It's like a 20-cent card. It's like a $5 card now, and it's all your fault. I blame you.
It's over 5. It's like 6 something.
Is it?
Yeah. I got to live the dream this week. I had Rhystic Study and Mystic Remora out at the same time.
Did you pay 5? Pay 5?
Yep. It was great.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Mystic Remora, it's a fantastic card. It's cheap. And, like, the worst, if you only draw 2 cards off it, that's still really good for the 2 mana, for the 1 mana you paid for it. If it goes on the table once, that's still really, really good.
I want to see this card get a reprint really bad.
Yeah. And nobody pays the 4.
No.
Like, I literally don't know if I've ever seen anybody pay the 4. That's not true. I know I've seen it once or twice when it's like turn 14 and somene's got 1 card in hand and they cast it. And you're like, did you pay the 4?
Or they have a Smothering Tithe out.
So right, I'll
there's
stack
like
4 artifacts. But like with the exception of that, it almost never gets paid.
Yeah.
So, N to Max.
This was the hardest one for me.
Okay.
Nicobolas.
Nope. But it got narrowed down to another Planeswalker.
Okay.
A very recent one.
Nissa who shakes the world.
No. Narset, Parter of Veils. I chose this because it can go in a lot of decks. Yeah, double blue and maybe a 3-color deck isn't great, but her static ability of not letting your opponents draw more than 1 card, even if you don't go the scumbag route and play wheels,
right?
You just turned off Sylvan Libraries, you've turned off Phyrexian Arenas, you've turned off all these great utility cards in EDH for 3 mana.
Yep.
And she comes in with 6 loyalty. So she's going to take a beating before she dies. And her ability to
Her minus ability is really good.
essentially search for Azcanta is awesome.
Yeah.
So she ended up beating out Necropotence
yeah.
and Najeela. Those were my other 2.
Both of whom are legit picks.
The cool thing about Narset and Phyrexian Arena is they still take the damage because Phyrexian Arena
Yes.
goes off in the upkeep,
Right, yeah.
and they have to draw off of that, but they don't get to draw for a turn.
So they draw their arena trigger, but not their regular draw.
They're
stuff.
only drawing one. It's like, get some.
Yeah, the one thing that feels good is something like Fact or Fiction. Where like, I'm not drawing them, I'm just putting them in my hand.
Yep.
But there's not that many effects that do that. It's almost always written as a draw.
Yeah.
Chris O.
This one I had a tough time with. Because I have 3 cards that I really liked. Oblivion Stone, Omniscience, and Outpost Siege. All of them are phenomenal in EDH, in my opinion. Like O-Stone goes in decks that need the removal, all that stuff. Omniscience is just broken. But I chose Outpost Siege because of True Blue Red Mage. For 4 mana, the ability to just flip a card and play it during that turn is stupid good.
It's Phyrexian Arena in red.
Yeah.
Without the life loss.
Yeah, like it's... Again, I think this is maybe an underrated card. It sees plenty of play in EDH Rack, but like, I still think it's underplayed and underappreciated. I'm a big fan of Outpost Siege.
Yeah.
I love it.
Especially that 1 red pip. It means you can shove it in 2 color, 3 color, even probably 5 color if you need some sort of impulse draw or something like that.
Don't ask me what the other mode does because I don't even know.
I've never picked it.
It's something about deals damage when a creature comes
When the
in.
creature is flying,
Yep.
leaves the
When a
battlefield.
creature
Okay.
leaves the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player.
Okay.
And there's probably situations where, like, if you're playing a token deck,
Perforos.
right, turn 10 or something, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to sacrifice 7 creatures next turn and
Like,
just rant everybody.
Yeah.
That's legit, too. But, like, so many times you just play it for the extra card draw.
I don't know how many times people ask me, what mode are you choosing? I'm like, what mode do you think I'm choosing?
there's more than one.
And it gets around Narset.
Yep.
You're not drawing it, you're exiling it and then casting it from exile. And I don't know. I have not been burned very many times by it where like I play a card that I can't utilize or I wanted that late or whatever. Almost, first of all, a third of the time it's your land drop for the turn. So you just play the land off it. But like very infrequently do I ever regret having that card go to it.
Nope. I think the worst I've ever had is when a Blasphemous Act flips and there's nothing to cast. And you're just
right,
like,
yeah.
well, that's a shame.
Occasionally that happens, but like for the most part. The only thing is once in a while you screw up the order, you're like, wait, I drew a card first instead of exile and gotta let me instead this one's gonna be exiled and this one's the one I
Yep.
yeah, such a good card. All right, next we're gonna go to me for P. Path to Exile.
Yeah.
Path to Exile is maybe better than Swords to Plowshares in EDH. Just because the land is maybe less meaningful when you're playing with 4 players because it's one person getting it. And there's been enough times in Commander where the creature I have to kill is like someone's Consuming Aberration. I'm like, oh, you're going to gain 62 life.
Joy.
Yeah. Oftentimes the life off Swords to Plowshares is irrelevant, but it's not always irrelevant. Like someone's got a Sarah Avatar you have to deal with, or they've just berserked some gross creature, and you're like, ugh, I'm going to Swords that, but you're going to gain 22. I mean, like that's not irrelevant at times. Path, just hitting them for a land, and it's 1 land of your 2 opponents. It's just not as big of a deal, particularly given how much ramp there already is in Commander. And I would say the ability to hit your own token to go ramp a land is also generally more useful than the life gain off Swords to Plowshares if you do it to your own creature as well. So my choice here is going to be the eternally $10 Path to Exile that will never ever be
Always
cheaper.
going to stay there.
Although we haven't had a reprint in a while at this point.
There was just a reprint in Gideon's Spellbook.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Which I need to still get.
Yeah, I've not picked one up either. I really should.
It's the most expensive foil out of the Spellbook that you
Is
can
it?
get.
Okay.
His Path, followed by Rest in Peace.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, that was the letter P. Max, here's your bad letter Q.
Yeah, because there was maybe like 50 cards to choose from.
Yeah, I suppose on one hand it's bad because there's not a lot of options. On the other hand, it's a pretty easy sheet to look at.
It was easy.
Kyrian Rangers.
No.
Quicksilver Amulet.
That was in the top 3.
Queen Marchesa?
She was in the top 3 as well. But again, I went with a colorless card.
Colorless Q card. You said
I already said
Quicksilver
Quicksilver.
Amulet. And I don't know. What is it?
I went with quite a spike.
Oh, that takes half their life.
Deal damage, then they drop their life in half. Yep.
I have not seen quite a
Isn't
spike
that
played
with
in
a
a while.
K?
Nope, QU.
Is it?
Quiet.
Yeah, that's not.
Assassin!
I'm not a quiet person.
No, you're not. This is just an equipment that can help end games. You know.
Particularly in like a Ashling deck or
Yeah.
like one of those weird commanders that deals damage to people? Because I don't think it's combat damage, correct?
Correct.
It's just when it deals damage.
Yes. I will look right now. I believe it is combat damage.
We should probably verify that before I say that for sure, because I've not seen one in a while. I think it is just damage.
When equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half of his or her life rounded up. So, I mean, it's 3 mana to cast, 3 to equip, and then it gives the creature death touch.
That's right.
So, I mean, put trample, double strike, anything, you're just going to do some work.
Double strike would be stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Lose half your life. Hit again. Lose half your life.
Yeah.
Extra combat step.
All right, quite a spike. Chris, back to you with letter R.
The letter R. So many good cards in the letter R.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about, your Ristic Study, Rest in Peace, Revel Arc, Revel in Riches, all those fun cards. The card that I chose, and this is going to get a lot of flack from people, is Rakdos Charm.
Rakdos Charm is really good.
I think Rakdos Charm is highly underplayed.
I have died to Rakdos Charm more than once.
The 3 modes on it are simply amazing. Exile a graveyard, destroy an artifact, or each creature deals damage to its opponent. So, I mean, there's not much I can say about it. Yeah.
And the graveyard thing is nice, too, because almost every other way to exile a graveyard is on the field.
Yep.
So someone can plan for it or see, okay, I can't do this because they have a Scavenger Grounds out, or I guess Bajuka Bog comes in and you can hit one graveyard, but you can't do it in response to something. Be able to Rakdos Charm that graveyard at instant speed in response to someone doing something for 2 mana is really, really good.
And it's in the colors that you need that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You got Leyline the Void, you have Planar Void, that kind of stuff, but that doesn't actually exile the graveyard.
I mean, it's probably worth it a lot of times just for that mode, but having the option, if someone's like, I'm going to cast Army of the Damned and make 13 tokens, and then I'm going to flash it back and make 13 more, but I can't attack this turn, so pass the turn, and you're like, huh.
Cool.
I'm
Take
just
26.
I'm just going to cast Rakdos Charm.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, I think that's a really underplayed card, and that's a good pick. Next, we move to me with the S's. Man, like
Soul Ring?
Soul Ring.
Done.
Soul Ring's the obvious. Like, it's probably boring. And I mentioned Swords to Plowshares, and I felt like I didn't want to pick that because we already have Path. I already picked Path, but like Swords and Soul Ring's the first obvious answer. I think Swords probably the second one.
Am I the only one who's not high on Sol Ring? I mean, yes, it's a good card, and it should be played in pretty much every deck, but I don't think it's as good as everyone claims it is.
I think it's really good.
I think it is really good. It's also something
It's also not interesting.
Right.
Yeah, it's not remotely interesting. Also, there's like all the swords of, Kicking Butt and Smashing Face and all those various ones. Scroll Rack is a really good card.
Yep.
I wound up picking a semi-pet card of mine, too, that I think is a great card, and that's Sudden Spoiling.
It is a good card, though.
Sudden Spoiling stops so many things from happening.
I didn't hear a single Sylvan Library out of him when he was talking.
I know.
Oh,
about
I didn't.
that.
I didn't. Probably because at that point I'm like, I've got 14 cards. I can stop before I get to the SY portion of the list. Is probably what happened. So that's what I'm going to go with Sudden Spoiling. But there's just a lot of really good choices in the S category for sure.
Yeah.
Max, the T's are you.
So this is essentially my Cyclonic Rift.
Okay.
And I went with Teferi's Protection.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
I still don't own one of those. I've been avoiding it with a passion.
Because it's only 60 to... I mean, is this...
No, the non-foil is like
30 or something, I think.
25. The Judge promo... I picked a Judge promo up in Kansas City for under 60.
Okay.
But it was the cheapest one in the room. They were all about 65, and I got mine for like 58.
I have 3 white... I've picked up 3 of them. Because I've had 3 white decks.
I have it in all... I mean, we said this last week on the deck tech. All my decks have white in them, and I run it in 3 of my 4. I don't run it in Brago.
I mean, there's so many times it just wins you a game. Or turns a game around completely.
For me, it falls into the Cyclonic Rift category.
I mean, it's just an automatically fantastic card in those colors.
Yep.
And it's a fantastic card without you really even needing to,
do anything.
Plan or worry about it. You're just like, I've got a really good board state right now, and I don't need to spend this 3 mana, and I'm holding Teferi's Protection. Why not? Mm-hmm. There's just no reason to take a risk, and that person next to you is like, ha ha ha, I got him. Here comes the Wrath of God. And you're like, nah, nope, peace out. Or here comes the Rift. It's like one of the few ways you can dodge a Rift.
I'm going to correct myself because if I don't, our Slack will kill me. According to Strifall, the promo is about $40.
Okay.
And the promo is around $65.
Okay. Because I got raked over the coals last week for suggesting that Cabal Coffers
Was $30.
Was still $30. I forgot.
No, it is not. It just keeps going up.
Yeah.
It's like that freaking, what is that card that I showed you last night and I put up in you put up in Slack?
Oh,
that
that
elf?
Manadoric, the bad Llanowar elf. It's like
I
$8.
go on every day onto MTG stocks, and it was the first thing that popped up, and I'm like, whoa, what?
Why is the bad Llanowar elf $8?
Because it was printed in those intro decks or packs or whatever.
And I wonder if is it any actual play? Because maybe if you're running like some kind of elf ball commander deck, would you run it? But it's just scarcity.
I was literally sitting there with Lucas having some drinks, and I'm like, do you know why this is so expensive? He goes, I don't know. He goes, that's a really bad Llanowar elf.
I've
I'm
never
like,
even
yep.
heard of that card. All right. So that was my pick for S. Max, on to you for the T's.
We just did tease. We did Teferi's Protection.
Oh, that's right. We did. Oh, that's what I get for getting distracted by your bar story.
Chris, you get to go with U's.
You get to go.
You. So, this one was actually tough for me because there's quite a few good ones. Like, I mean, I want to choose Ulamog.
Like your boy, your modern boy Urza.
Right? No, he's on there. Trust me. Urza is a super powerful card. I don't care what format you're playing in, that card is super powerful. But this is where I chose a land.
Okay.
This land is, you don't see it a lot, I guess you could say, but in the colors that it's played in, it is wonderful, and it is called Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth.
Yeah.
The ability to just turn everything into swamps is huge, and then you can play Cabal Coffers.
You play the $30 Cabal Coffers.
You know what's really sad? When you said it's a land, I went straight to Untadaki, the Cloudkeeper, not Urborg.
Urborg was a $30 card not that long ago before that last reprint.
Yep, there are actually a lot of views. Like, I love Ugin. The biggest reason I didn't pick Ugin is because his price is so high that I don't want to suggest this being like the best of the cards. Similar to like Mana Vault and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't pick Tabernacle. Just so you know. Just so you know.
Both those Ulamongs are pretty good cards.
They are.
Or excuse me, both the Ugins are as
both
well.
Ugins, both Ulamongs.
Yeah. Ugh. Actually, looking at it, at first I was like, use, there's not going to be much there. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm wrong. There's a bunch of stuff there.
No, if I were to choose probably properly, it would have been Utter End.
Sure. Yeah.
Because that is super powerful. But I had to choose Urborg just because no one seems to want to choose a land.
No, I like
so
that.
I was like, that's a good one.
It enables your Cabal Coffers, but it's like as a color fixing tool, it's saved me a bunch of times too when I'm particularly in a 3-color deck. Draw that and you're like, that gives me all the black sources I'm ever going to need.
Yep. And I love it when an opponent plays one.
And
so
the
that's why I'm trying to get people to play it because I'm like,
well, right, like when someone else plays it, it can help you. Like I've been saved by someone else's Urborg, but it also enables weird Swamp Walk stuff sometimes too. I've had Shield Dreads be able to punch through on me that I couldn't deal with because of the Swamp Walk.
Yep.
So that's not nothing either. What's the Rexio the Risen Deep? I think has Swamp Walk as well, and it's in black blue.
You don't see Landwalk too often in Commander.
I think they've mostly stopped. I can't think of the last time I saw it on a card.
Yeah, I mean, unless it was on like a reprint or something.
Actually, maybe it was Rexiel back in Zendikar.
Could be.
Because it also had the legendary Landwalk with Trailblazer's boots, or non-basic Landwalk and Trailblazer's boots. But I can't think of one I've seen since then. So
soon it will come back.
It will be back. All right.
No, it won't. I bet you it will. Same with protection.
Well, we didn't get protection back though this time.
Yeah, we did, but it's not quite.
In the core set.
I mean, it is, but it's not quite the same. I guess you could say.
Yeah. So I mean, I just did a quick Scryfall for Swamp Walk. I think the newest card on the list is from Lorwyn.
Sure.
Was that pre or post the original Ravnica stuff?
That would have been after the original Ravnica, but before Zendikar. Or not, before Zendikar. I think Rexiel's in Zendikar, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, World Wake had Marsh Threader and Rexiel.
So that block, I would guess, was the last one we probably saw anything.
Bring it back, Wizards.
All right. The V's are to me. And I already took Demonic Tutor, so I can't mention. I didn't want to take Vamp Tutor here.
Veil of the Nightclad.
I didn't think of Veil of the
Maybe.
But since we already have the best Overload card in Cyclonic Rift, I went with what's probably the second best Overload card, Vandal Blast.
I think that's perfectly on par with Cyclonic Rift, easily.
It's really, really, really good. And same as same as Cyclonic Rift, there's way worse things to do with 1 mana than just kill one artifact early on. I would not feel bad turn 1ing someone's Soul Ring with a Vandal Blast.
No.
At all. But then being able to, on turn 5 or 6, look around and hit all 3 Soul Rings, and that Signet, and that Talisman, and that person's Basalt Monolith, and, whatever.
Bunch of cheaters if y'all got Soul Rings out by turn 5. I don't ever see my Soul Ring.
That's a you problem.
Stealth Soul Ring. That's a V problem, because we're on Vs now.
I have the Landwalk answer.
Okay.
Stormtide Leviathan was originally printed in Magic 11, but it's been reprinted 3 times.
Okay.
Also, number of islands. Nope. Okay, so Colossal Whale was printed in M14.
And that
has Island Walk.
Interesting. So Colossus Whale is the last time we've seen it in a standard set.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you, Max.
No problem.
All right. And since you're already talking, how about the W's?
I went with Hangerback Walker's good friend, Walking Ballista.
Another construct that you can find.
Yes. So this one, again, just goes infinite. You can
with 6 different things.
6 different things. It's like a fun way to do the game. It's kind of boring if you want to win that way, but sometimes you have to.
But it's also not just a combo piece. It's a really good utility piece just to take care of like annoying creatures.
It's great when you're playing Modern and someone goes, turn 1, Hardened Scales. Cool. Okay. Turn 2, Hardened Scales. Cool. Turn 3, play Metallic Mimic. Choose Construct. Cool. Play Walking Ballista.
I see
put
what's
6
happening.
Counters on it. Play Walking Ballista. Put 6 counters on it. You're like, stop.
I didn't mention this on mic. At least I don't think. I did get some community help on 2 letters.
Okay.
This was one of them. My other choice was Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, yeah.
So, but in the end...
Well, Wheel of Fortune probably, again, one of those easy, like the Demonic Tutor kind of ones. You're like, yes, that's kind of the obvious answer, maybe.
And price. I mean, it's
also
$100
for the regular version. For the cheapest version is $100.
And again, it comes down to Walking Ballista can go in any deck.
Sure. That makes sense. Chris, X.
So I do believe when I was looking at this...
I can tell you
I
right
might
now.
even have this pulled up. I think there was like 27 cards that were in the letter X.
And in thinking about it off the top of my head, I'm just like, man, the Scenic Poltergeist, it's a terrible X card. I'm like, what else was there? I'm sure there's some Xanthid stuff, I think.
There's not even 27
there are
cards.
14
cards
X
in X. So we can talk about, Xenagos, who is in the X.
Sure.
All that fun stuff. I chose Zancha. Because Zancha gotcha. That's how that works.
She does. Zancha's really good.
I love this card so much. You just, cast it. Here, you can have this wonderful card. Pay 3, draw a card. Oh, you lose a life. It's okay, though, but I do believe she's a 5/5.
She is a 5/5. Yeah.
But she can't attack you or Planeswalkers you control, so she's just going to go attacking at everyone else. You're like, Mwahaha.
There's a Zantra Voltron deck in the shop.
Oh, gosh.
Where he plays Zantra and hands it to somebody else, and he's like, next time on the board, he's like, I'm going to put this enchantment on there, and this enchantment, and this enchantment, and this enchantment. You're like, oh, God, Zantra's a 22/22. You're like, oh, no. Yeah, she comes down so fast, too. Zantra is super cool.
Yeah.
Not much competition there, but that's a good pick. So we have 2 left. The last 2 letters of the alphabet. The Y's went to me. Again, there wasn't a whole lot of choices here. I almost went with Yavimaya Hollow for a land.
Okay.
But Yawgmoth's Will.
Oh,
yeah.
By far.
Yawgmoth's Will is just a great card. We talked about it on the Not Being Greedy show. We're like, you don't need to get a bunch of stuff back. If you get one thing back, it's a slightly more expensive regrowth. Pretty easy to get 2 things back. You don't need to go for that home run turn where you get 9 things.
This conversation reminds me of that Slack post that we had. Whoever hand drew that picture of high floor, low ceiling, and it's this little gap of this guy crawling through it.
I wasn't even mentally thinking that, but yeah, it's got a high floor. It's easy to be good with. Although it has a pretty high ceiling, too.
Very high ceiling.
So I would say Yawgmoth's Will. But again, this is one I could have easily picked something else for because it's a $100 card, too.
Yeah.
Or closing in on it. And there's not many of them out there. It's an old card. It's a reserved list card. So I probably could have found something else, and it's a tough one to find, but that's what I wound up going with. Last, but certainly not least, to Max for the Z's.
Z's, I was impressed. There are just shy of 100 cards that start with Z.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Zur is the obvious choice, but it's not what I picked.
Okay.
I did pick Zakama Primal Calamity. It came down to this and actually Zada Hedron Grinder because
Zada's
is
really, really
just
good,
a
too.
straight combo type deck. I chose the comma because it's 9 mana, but you get all that back the minute you cast it. It has 3 very good abilities on it that are really prominent in EDH. Hitting lightning bolting a creature, destroying an artifact or enchantment, and gaining you some life.
And it untaps all your lands when it comes into play,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And it has Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. So, I mean, it's a 9/9. It's a 2-hit clock, 3-hit clock. It's just all around a really good card. You're in Naya, so ramp is not an issue.
I got to Overwhelming Intellect Zakama a couple weeks ago, which is a counter target creature and draw cards equal to its CMC. And I'm like,
Okay.
I guess I'll draw 9. And they're trying to get the because the untap is when it comes into play.
Yes.
Yep.
So they didn't get to untap the lands because the player was counting on the untap to do something, and I'm like, sorry, I'm just gonna draw 9.
That's a good exchange. 6 mana, 9 cards.
Yeah, that was fine. I was perfectly content with that. You time walked yourself, and I drew 9 cards.
And of
That's a
course,
good pick
Dana
there as
probably
well.
had the trashiest card in play at that time, too, called Reliquary Tower.
Yeah, I did have a Reliquary Tower in play. The Commander Social Show they just did a show on utility lands. And they were talking about that, and that was kind of their take. Was like, whatever, who cares? It's just fun to have in my deck, so I can keep my giant handful of cards. I'm like, yeah, man, I get it. I
do like it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I say cards are trash cards, and a lot of times you can tell I'm just joking around
Right.
with them. The biggest thing I despise about cards like that, though, are the players who do it, draw so many cards, and then they spend 20 minutes looking through
Figuring
their
out.
hand to play something. It's just like, you should have been doing this on someone else's turn.
Yeah.
Lands in back, spells in front with the spells you want to play
Yes.
towards the front of your
Yeah.
hand. Play on your turn out, people. Come on.
Yes. I think we did a show on that.
We
talked
did.
about
Way
speeding up
back
the
in the
game.
day.
Way
I
back
was in the
day,
single
yeah.
digits.
Well, hey, this was a fun show, Chris. Thanks for coming up with the topic.
Great idea, Chris.
And welcome back to the
Thank you,
podcast
thank
after
you.
your brief homeowner hiatus.
Oh, it's wonderful. I recommend anyone who ever needs to rent one, go rent one, because they are a blast to drive around.
They are.
Even if you roll them over.
Yep.
All right.
Should have rented 2, then you could demo Derby.
They don't go that fast.
Then it makes the anticipation even better.
I assume he wanted his security deposit back as well.
Ah.
So we'll be back on Thursday with another Deck Tech. Our podcast theme is Retro Future Dirty by Kevin MacLeod, licensed via Creative Commons. Our editor is Ken Peddle. You can find him on Twitter at LOAD3R. You can find me on Twitter at Dana Roach. You can find Max at CMDRCentral_Max. And you can find Chris at WiseSquishy1. Until next time, I'm Dana.
I'm Max.
And I'm Chris.